Hey, this is Mike Renoir, Northwest Fight Scene, NWFightScene.com. I'm here with UFC fighter Mike Pierce before your fight down in Australia, about a week and a half out. Mike, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Just coming in here to do some sparring and getting ready to leave on the 9th.
I know this. We're here in Portland, Oregon, Sports Lab Training Center, Sports Lab Martial Arts. A lot of talk now about Sports Lab. Some good guys that you're working with there. Dave Jansen's in the house today, and you got Tyson Nam as a teammate, Ian Loveland as a teammate, Phil Claude and Andy Minsker. Robert Follis is now also here, or is he?
He's here. He's over. He's helping leaving right now for his fight in Hawaii.
Right.
And got Jeremy Wires helping out with Muay Thai. We got a group of guys, man. It's a great program.
Talk about the program here and what are some of the things that you focus on?
Some of the things we focus on is just training smart. I mean, everyone has a conditioning program, and that is kind of tweaked to their strengths or maybe who they're fighting, but everything's kind of individualized for whatever fight that they have coming up, and it's really specific. And we try and stay healthy. There's always a recovery element. After working out, make sure we stay healthy and train smart so we don't get hurt and minimize risk.
All right, now Phil Claude, owner of the Sports Lab. I know when I first met Phil, years ago, and he was training Nathan Corey. One of the guys that he was training with, NHL hockey player. I mean, so the guy has credentials and really that idea of training smart in this day and age with all these fighters falling off the card. It's got to be such a big focus.
Well, right. That's one of the things I like about this program so much is that, I want to have as much longevity in the sport as possible. And I think if you try and burn yourself out and do too much too quick, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice. And, I've been in since 2009. I haven't ever had an injury. I've been able to make all my fights and have never had to pull out. So, we're doing something right.
Right on. Now let's talk about the fight. It's December 15th down in Australia. Gold Coast against Seth Basinski.
He's got a difficult last name.
Yeah. Talk about Basinski as an opponent.
The obvious thing is he's tall. He's 6'3". I'm 5'8", so there's going to be quite a dynamic there. He's kind of rangy, although for a guy as tall as he is, his reach isn't that significant. I mean, he's got like a 75-inch reach. I've got 71, so he's got a little bit of a reach, but nothing I haven't dealt with before. He's fairly good on the ground too, but again, that's something I'm used to and have trained for a long time now. So I don't think he's going to throw anything at me that I haven't seen before, and it'll be a fun fight.
Oh, good. Now Australia, that's obviously kind of a journey, and there's a bit of time difference. Are you going to take that into account at all, or going a little bit early, or with trying to adjust your body to the time difference?
I got asked this question earlier today too, and he's in the same boat that I am. I mean, he's actually, coming from Arizona, I'm coming from Oregon, so there's not going to be that much of a difference. We're both going to be in the same boat. We're both going to have to, acclimate to the time change and kind of figure things out. So I don't think I'm at any advantage or disadvantage, although I've traveled around and worked out before in odd parts of the world that, have screwed me up with jet lag and having to worry about that. So I'm fine with it.
Oh, good. Any on the back end, you gonna hang out there at the Gold Coast, go to the beach?
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, this is really all business, and that's typically how it is, with these fights. So if I get some time to check out the scenery and the people, for sure I'll do that. But I got one thing on my mind, and that's beating Seth.
Awesome. Now let's go back to your last fight, Aaron Simpson, knockout, the second round knockout. That had to feel good.
Yeah, it was very nice. There was a little bit of back and forth in the first round, and towards the later end of the first round, he caught me with an overhand right, and it was kind of my own fault. I was kind of chasing him a little bit, and he planted through that right. I was trying to slip it, but he caught me enough to kind of rock me, and I did my best and survived through the round. Kind of collected myself on the way over to the corner, and by the time I sat down, I was fine. I knew what I needed to do, and I figured if I was him, I would come out and try and throw the same punch and see if it landed and finish the fight. So I kind of anticipated the punch coming, And I slipped at that time successfully and threw one of my own and turned his mouthpiece sideways and ended the fight. I mean, I knew when I hit him it was a solid punch, and I kind of turned and looked to see if I needed to throw the hook, and his eyes were already rolling back in the back of his head, and that's kind of it.
Right. Now, you're known as a grinder, but getting a knockout win like that, a signature knockout like that, is that kind of showing people, hey, I got hands, I can do this on the feet if I need to?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there are those times where fights are going to go the distance, and it's going to turn more into a grind sometimes. But if I can finish a fight, I've knocked people out with both my hands, and that's something that they should respect. If they don't, they're going to get caught, and I'm okay with that too. But whether it goes the distance or I get a TKO knockout submission, that's great. Of course, I would prefer to end the fight earlier because we all get paid the same, whether we're in there for 15 minutes or, a minute and a half. It doesn't really make a difference. So, and it's always more spectacular, and, it's a lot more fun. So we'll try and do more of the knockouts and TKOs.
Right. Now, let's talk about the losses in the UFC to Koscheck, which I know I
didn't lose that fight.
You didn't lose the fight, but unfortunately that's the way they saw it. With Hendricks and with Fitch. All three of these fights, you came out in the losing end. If you go to distance, they're really pretty close. Maybe one thing or two things you could have done different. Do you ever look back at those fights and say, what if I did that? Or do you play that game in your mind? Is that kind of...
Well, sure. I think you'd be a fool if you didn't. I mean, you always want to take a look at the film a second, third, fourth time after the fight. And see what kind of adjustments and fine tuning you should do for the next time. And try not to make the same mistakes. Maybe try and do a couple things differently. The outcome of the next fight might be dependent on that. You never know. So you're always trying to get better and move forward and present the next best version of yourself in your upcoming fight. So I've learned from those mistakes that I made, and although the Koscheck one, I felt I fought a pretty solid fight. I had a good game plan, and how the judges thought the way they did is beyond me. There was a fight I had shortly after that where one of the judges scored it for the wrong corner, and I was like, maybe that's what happened in the Koscheck fight. I kept waiting for that guy to phone up, the commission and say, oh, hey, by the way, I wrote my score down on the wrong card. But,
right.
I think I clearly won that. Everyone that I've talked to said I won that fight, and so I think the judges are in the minority in that opinion.
Gotta live and learn, I suppose, and you move on. Now, talk about actually, I want to switch it up here. I just heard a story a couple days ago about your soft spot in your heart for a dog. With your coach here, Phil Claude, his dog was sick, and they were talking about putting him down, but 1:30 in the morning, you called him up and said, hey, I can help you out, and you did. Talk about that.
Well, I don't know if it's a soft spot for the dog. That dog always, every time I go over there, he always mauls me. He's a lover, but that's fine. And I love dogs, always have. But yeah, it was late at night. My phone was charging because, I use it throughout the day. And I noticed that Phil had called and left me a message, and he was kind of nonchalant in his message, saying, oh, not a problem, just get back at me when you can. So, I called him back, and I wasn't, expecting him to answer the phone, and when he did, he was kind of, having some trouble getting his words out, and, he was just about there to, put his dog down. They were getting ready to sign the paperwork to, permit the vet to put him down, and he needed, some help financially to get that dog surgery that he needed to live, and I can understand that. I helped him out, and the dog's doing really good now. He's expected to recover, and it's just one of those nice things. I mean, we're a pretty solid team here, and I do what I can to help out when I can.
Awesome. Now, talk about this trip. You just went to the Middle East, visited 6 countries. I heard a little bit about that. I was kind of involved with the military. Talk about what you were doing.
Yeah, it was the guy that put it together. His name's Kurt Schrout, and he used to live in Oregon. He is a jiu-jitsu black belt. He lives in Colorado now, has a school out there, and he used to be a Marine back in his day, and he remembers kind of the mundane routine, the day in, day out grind that those guys go through. And so he finally put himself in a position to where he could put together these sorts of things and go overseas and, kind of bring a piece of home to the soldiers that are out there abroad. We went to the Middle East, hit 6 different countries, a bunch of different bases within those countries, and did a lot of meet and greets. Usually we would meet with command first, and they would kind of tell us what their mission was and what their responsibilities were, and then we'd go out and meet these different groups of guys, and they would show us a little bit of what they do, and it was really kind of cool to see all that. And then at the end of the day, typically we do a meet and greet, and autographs, pictures, and then we'd have a grappling session at the end, and that was always a lot of fun because those guys, they're into that sort of thing, and the Army has their combatives program, and they're really trying to expand on that to the other branches of the military too, to kind of get that warrior spirit. That's what they're talking about. They're trying to kind of branch that out into the other sides of the military, and there were some guys that actually knew what they were doing and had some knowledge of the ground, and that was a lot of fun. And other guys just wanted to mix it up and see what they could do, see how they could do against some of us guys that are professional fighters. And it was just an absolute blast. And you come back from that with kind of a new appreciation, new respect, and perspective on the people that volunteer their time and services to go out in these countries. Over there it was, in my opinion, it was a wasteland. I mean, I'm used to the Northwest where it's pretty nice climate, there's ocean, there's, you go to Eastern Oregon, there's a little bit of desert, you got everything. But over there, it's just a barren wasteland, it's desert, it's hot. I mean, even in the winter time, it's like 95. And they were talking about how some days it gets up to 136 plus humidity. And they actually fly certain colored flags during the day that say, no activity, and they have, water stations every so many feet so people, don't get dehydrated and have heat stroke. And, it's pretty crazy and dangerous. And, these guys got to worry about their lives, and they do so much. So I took a new appreciation on what those guys do for us over there.
Well, that's very cool, very cool. I was at your first pro fight in 2000, I think 2006.
Yeah, it was
2007.
Might be 2006, I think.
It's amazing now. Here, fast forward 2012. You're going to Australia. You just came from the Middle East. When you look back in the last 6 years as a pro, I mean, you've come an awful long way from your first show here in Portland area. Talk about that. I mean, just looking back and where you are now. Are you content where you are now? Are you happy with the progress?
I'm happy with the progress. Am I happy where I'm at now? No, because I still have places that I want to go that I'm not at yet. When I first started out, I always knew what I wanted to do, and I always thought I had a good chance of reaching where I wanted to go. And I just knew it would take hard work and time. And so, you just got to do those things, put in the time, put in the dedication, and, usually things come. And they came, relatively quick for me. But, I've been happy, I've been fortunate, to surround myself with a good group of guys that have been helping me get to that next level and continue to rise up the ranks and get better, with each fight. So, I love it, and I got a long ways to go, and I'm looking forward to it.
Perfect. Anyone to thank for this fight coming up? Any sponsors that you want to mention?
Definitely want to thank Paradigm Sports Management. Those guys, do a lot for me, and always have my back. And of course, my team here, Sports Lab, and all the guys that help me get ready. We have a daily grind here that we all have to go through, and it's fun and it's long sometimes, but it's well worth it.
All right. Well, you heard it here. Mike Pierce be fighting up on December 15th. I think they're airing it December 14th in the States. With the time difference,
right.
So check them out. I'm not sure if it's on FX or Fuel.
It's going to be on Fuel.
On Fuel TV, so check it out there. We'll check your local listings, and we look forward to you coming back with the win. Thank you, Mike.
All right, thank you.